The other day I was driving down I-75 and I was driving behind a truck that had all kinds of things strapped to the flatbed behind it. And it didn't look like it was strapped in there really well. And I was struck with a thought that I have had many times before of how trusting we are of the people that we drive along the road with, that they have secured the things that they have in the back of their truck or on the top of their vehicles, or even the people that are driving towards us, that they're paying attention, that they're not going to veer into our lanes. And yet, how often and how difficult is it for us to trust the Lord when He is quite obviously much more worthy of our trust? The passage I want to share with you today is Psalm 31, verses 14 and 15. And they say this: "But I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hands." And when I read that verse, I'm reminded of the times when I have to declare that, even when I'm having trouble really believing it. Because our times, our lives, are in God's hands. And no matter how hard we try to orchestrate outcomes or control the narrative of our life, He is the one who's in control. And so when it says, "But I trust you, Lord, you are my God, and my time, my life, my beginning and my end, and all the parts in between, they're in your hands," that's a declaration of trust. And there's so many Psalms that reiterate this. In Psalm 9:10, it says, "Those who know your name trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you." Listen to that again. Those who know your name trust in you. We could preach a whole sermon on that verse alone, because it's when we really know who He is and His power and His love and His grace that we can rest and trust in the fact that He won't forsake us. We might not understand, but we can still trust. And finally, I just want to mention also in Romans 15:13, it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." Another verse that's packed with so much. This is a blessing that the God of hope would fill you with joy and peace. But there's a caveat there: as you trust in Him, so that your life can overflow with hope. But it's not by our power that happens. It's by the power of the Holy Spirit. But all of that is dependent on our trusting in Him. And as we look back at that first Psalm, that Psalm 9, it's because we know who He is, and we know His power, and we know His history. So my prayer, my hope, is that we would know Him better, that we would know Him more, so that we can trust in Him, and we can rest in that trust.